Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Greetings to all of y'all from wherever you are around the world. I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are good. I hope you guys are taking good care of your families. I hope you guys are taking good care of yourselves. I hope you guys are taking care of your health. And I hope you understand the fact that your body is your greatest asset. And you need to take care of your body in order for you to be able to take care of your mind. So today, with all the wrap up from Champions League action, it was match day 4 of the UEFA Champions League. And already there are a few teams that have already qualified for the next round, which is the knockout round of 16. Last season's runners-up, Inter Milan, qualifying with the win against Salzburg, thanks to a late penalty by on-form Lautaro Martinez, as well as Real Madrid claiming a 3-0 victory over Braga, which sees the 14-time champions also progressed to the round of 16, as well as we did also see Barcelona could have been the first team to qualify, for the round of 16. And it would have been the first time in 3 years since they've last qualified for the knockout stages of the UEFA Champions League. But due to the fact that last season, in the last 2 seasons, they haven't been lucky after the departure of their talisman, Lionel Messi. They have struggled to find a going in European football, which has seen them languish to the Europa League. At first, they were knocked out in the semi-finals, and then last season, they were knocked out by Manchester United in the round of 16. So, Barca are just like one win away from qualifying for the round of 16. They've been very poor in the Champions League so far this season. Yes, they've won all their games, but the game against Shakhtar has exposed so many of the weaknesses in, Xavi's tactics, has exposed a lot of weaknesses in the Barca attack, and as well as in the midfield. They were not clinical enough. They were losing too many passes, which is just not, it's just not Barcelona style. It's unlike Barcelona. Understanding the fact that we know this is a team that plays possession football. They are a ball team. They like to keep the ball quite often, circulate the ball, and they're a team that we know can always create something out of nothing, but that's not what we saw. We saw. Let me just focus on some of the individuals that I saw. Right, Barca made a few changes. We saw up front Lewandowski did start the game as well, alongside Rafinha and Ferran Torres. Rafinha did come back from an injury, so I doubt that he's 100% fit. Even his performance against Shakhtar did demonstrate that he's not really 100% fit. That's why we could see there was a lot of lethargy in his performance. He was just not at his best. He was not affecting the game at all. He was losing too much of the ball quite often, even in the areas where Barca almost had an opening. He was losing too much of the ball, including Ferran Torres the same. Ferran Torres was nowhere to be seen in the game at all. Nowhere to be seen. Yes, he did have a couple of touches here and there, and he was finding himself in the wrong position. Sometimes Ferran Torres, you would see him playing at left back, having to go out there and defend. That's how poor Barca's performance was against Shakhtar. And congratulations to Shakhtar Donetsk. That's their first win against Barcelona in like 9 games. The last time they did beat Barcelona was in 2008. And this is their first win in over a decade over the 5-time champions. But Barca still have a lot of work to do. They still can go through to the next round with the win at home against FC Porto, who also seemingly are on the verge of qualifying for the next round. They both have 9 points, you understand, each. 1 lost game. So it's going to be a pretty tough game, but I definitely believe that both teams will qualify for the next round with relative ease. In other games that we saw Bayern Munich did qualify, thanks to a great brace by Harry Kane in a tough game against Galatasaray. What a game that was. Understanding the fact that Galatasaray had a goal disallowed for offside. Apparently, Mauro Icardi was ruled to be offside, but I guess, it was the correct decision whenever I look at it. I saw the replay several times. It was a correct decision by VAR to disallow that goal for offside. Yes, unfortunately, Icardi made the run too early. You understand? But it was a great goal by the Turkish team, nevertheless. And bear in mind, even with that defeat away to Bayern Munich, they still also do stand a chance of qualifying for the next round. Of course, Bayern Munich have 100% record. They've won all 4 of their games in the Champions League so far this season. So they do qualify for the next round with relative ease. Harry Kane, who's on fine form this season, he already has gone into double figures. He has had the greatest start of any striker for the German club. I mean, you think about Thomas Muller, you think about Gerd Muller, you think about Mario Gomez, you think about the great Robert Lewandowski. I mean, he's already had the perfect start. He has had a dream start. You understand? He has had the greatest start for any Bayern Munich striker in the history of the club. And with all those names that I've just mentioned, you would think it's a story that is up for debate. But numbers don't lie. Stats don't lie. The stats are there, and Harry Kane is on form. I mean, he just got a hat-trick against Borussia Dortmund. 4-0 victory for Bayern Munich away from home. I mean, what a season he's having. What a season he's having, man. And it's only a matter of time, to see how far can, he keep up with this performance, and how far can he also help this team, win greater things, including the Champions League. Remember, Bayern are yet to win the Champions League since 2020. That last time, remember, they defeated PSG in that final. So they haven't won it in about 3 years now. So perhaps they are also one of the teams that can really compete, that are up there who top the list of the contenders for this prestigious trophy, including Manchester City, as well as 14-time champions Real Madrid. Also, Manchester City did qualify, a brace by Erling Haaland. Remember, he was a scare coming into this one. Remember, because he limped off the field with injury in that 6-1 trashing of Bournemouth over the weekend. But he did come back into the game fully fit, scoring a brace, and wow. And Phil Foden also scored a wonderful goal, a memorable goal by the England international to send Manchester City to the next round with relative ease. 3-0 victory over Switzerland's young boys. And then what? Arsenal are just also one win. They just need one more victory to qualify for the next round. Remember, Arsenal hadn't played in the Champions League for 7 years now. So this is their first time in 7 years playing in the Champions League, and they're only left with one victory. They only just need one victory to qualify for the next round, thanks to goals by Leon Trossard and Bukayo Saka getting the goals there. 2-0 victory for the Gunners, who were the runners-up last season. I mean, this is like their second victory over Sevilla in a space of a couple of weeks. So they've done a double over Sevilla in the group. Remember, Sevilla, the Europa League champions, have also found the going very tough this season. They've had a very dreadful start to the season in La Liga. They're languishing the bottom half of the table. So there's a lot of work to be done for the Spanish Giants. Remember, also coming into this one, Sevilla were without the veteran defender Sergio Ramos, who's out with injury. So we are not sure when he will be returning, but certain sources do reveal that he will be back in the next couple of weeks. So it's only a matter of time. Hopefully it won't be too late. It won't affect Sevilla's hopes of qualifying for the next round in the UEFA Champions League. But we do know they are the Europa League Cup specialists. So maybe they should just play in the tournament where they specialize in. Because it seems like Champions League is just not for them. But, let us not underestimate them. Let us not undermine them. They are a team that has shown that they can compete at the highest level. But it wasn't to be. They were not in the game at all. We saw players like Rakitic. I think Arsenal did well by not giving him too much space on the ball, as well as Lamela was also not in the game. And credit goes to the Arsenal defense, man. The Arsenal defense, was solid. Even the midfield was also solid. They were on point, and they currently on song, in qualifying for the next round after that upset away to Lens in France. So yeah, man, kudos goes to Arsenal as well. And the other team that we did see also qualify is Atletico Madrid. They cruised with relative ease after a 6-1 victory over Celtic at home. And there's a lot of talking points from this past Champions League games, man. It's just that, VAR, I think this is a debate that we're going to have pretty soon with VAR. The whole discussion about VAR is a debate we're going to have very soon because, hey, man, there's a whole lot going wrong with this VAR thing. I mean, Look at the game between Napoli and Union Berlin. Just watch that game pretty well. See it. Ask yourself, what is this? Because it seems to me that VAR only works, like decisions tend to, be heavily influenced by who's refereeing and not by the correct decision. You understand? Because look at the game against with Newcastle and Arsenal in the Premier League. You could see the ball was clearly out of play, right? But the goal was given. In this game, same thing happened, but the goal was disallowed. Then you ask yourself, okay, fine. Is now VAR, is it based on the fact that is it based on the correct decision, or is it based on what the official feels is the correct decision? Because now we've seen a lot of incorrect decisions made by VAR. You understand? Already, this season alone. We don't even have to go very far. You just have to look at the game between Tottenham and Chelsea, not so long ago. A lot of controversial decisions made in that game. Go all the way again to Tottenham versus Liverpool in the same, league, at the same stadium as well. Many controversial decisions made in that game. And then you ask yourself, but is it about the correct decision, or is it about how the officials feel? You just ask yourself that question. It begs that question. You understand? Also, another team who we saw qualify is Real Sociedad. Wow. Congrats to them, man. Congratulations to Real Sociedad. You understand? They came in this group as underdogs. Remember now you're playing against Benfica. You're also playing against Salzburg. You're also playing against runners-up, the two-time champions, Inter Milan. Congratulations to Real Sociedad. So now this is basically 3 Spanish clubs have already made it. Only short with Barcelona, only. I'm not pretty sure if Sevilla will make it, but they will have a lot of work to do if they are to really make it to the next round. Congratulations to Real Sociedad. You look at players like Take Kubo. He's been on fine form, man. He's been on fine form. Inspiring the team every single game. It's a pity for Benfica, man. They've been very poor in this Champions League campaign. They've been very poor. I don't even think the absence of Di Maria really affected them that much. They've been very poor this season in the Champions League. So the only thing that they can do is scramble for a Europa League spot. That's the only thing they can do. The former defending Portuguese champions were very poor in the Europa League. Even the game against Real Sociedad, away from home, they were relatively poor. Relatively poor. Dreadful in defense, losing too much of the ball, giving away too much ball possession. You understand? They just made life easy for their opponents. They did not give their opponents any sort of meaningful competition in the game. It's like you, as a Real Sociedad coach, you wouldn't even have to scratch your head in this game. If you're a Real Sociedad coach, you'll just be sitting on the touchline, pretty much relaxed for the whole 90 minutes, just sitting on your bench, relaxing, man. You wouldn't even have to really scratch your head. All you just wanted to see goals, see your team perform to the best of their ability. Right now, it's about chasing that number 1 spot. Because once you get that number 1 spot, you won't face a difficult opposition. But in my own opinion, I don't think it's even about it. Every opposition is difficult. In Champions League football, every opposition is difficult. It's just about who's prepared mentally and physically. And it's all about the quality on the day. And it's all about tactics. It does not matter whether you say, nah, man, I just want us to finish first so that we can play against a much easier opposition. I don't think it's like that. There's no such thing as an easier opposition. Every team is tough. Every team is a tough opposition, is a worthy opponent to play against. In Champions League football, there's no easy team. There's no difficult team. Yes, of course, there are teams that are much more superior than certain teams. But when it comes to knockout football, in the Champions League, there's no such thing as an easy team. No such thing whatsoever. Never. There's no such thing as an easy opponent. Another game. A talking point. Manchester United against Copenhagen. Away from home. VAR. Guys, VAR. How could we forget about that match, man? How could we forget about that game? Copenhagen taking on Manchester United. You know, Højlund returning to his former team, getting a brace against his former club. Højlund, Rasmus Højlund, getting a brace against his former team. Away from home, even returning to his former club and getting a brace at his former club. How often does that happen? How often do you see that? It seems like Højlund, he only chooses when he wants to play, when he wants to be at his deadliest best, because we've seen his form in the Champions League has been pretty decent. He has scored a couple of goals here and there. But why is he not translating that form into the Premier League to change the fortunes of his club in the Premier League? Or what? Is it because Premier League is much way more difficult than Champions League? But I sincerely disagree with that. Champions League is the grand prize. Champions League is the major tournament on the footballing calendar in European football. You understand? It's the major tournament. It's the, how can I put it? It's that particular tournament that is the prolific one. You understand? High profile. All eyes are on, the entire world has their eyes glued to their screens. From wherever, whether it's in Brazil, South America, whether it's in South Africa, in Africa, or Ghana, India, Malaysia, Australia, Japan, China, wherever in the world, everybody's eyes are glued to their screen. So yeah, Højlund getting a brace, Bruno Fernandes scoring a penalty, Man United throwing away a 2-goal lead, Rashford getting a red card. I think that was the one thing that cost Man United the entire game. That's what changed the complexion of the game. That Rashford red card, changed the entire complexion of the game. It did. Certainly did. And you ask yourself a question. I mean, was that really a red card? Was it? I'm sincerely asking, I'm asking a question. Like, was that really a red card? Or was VAR just being too harsh? I don't know, man. VAR is don't get me wrong. VAR is a great concept. It's a great concept, but I think maybe the officials are not using it correctly. Most officials are just, I don't know, man. They're just not using it correctly. I sincerely don't think that was a red card. Hey, I sincerely don't believe that was a red card. I think that was way too harsh. Very harsh from the officials. That, in my opinion, sincerely was not a red card offense. Definitely not. But hey, Man United, it changed the complexion of the game nonetheless. Manchester United gave away a 2-goal lead. Copenhagen did score right before halftime. You understand? To get themselves back into the game. And they did that in the second half, scoring again. Bruno Fernandes scoring a penalty to restore the lead for Manchester United. But then, that's when we saw a comeback. You understand? And that penalty that Copenhagen was also given, I don't think Maguire fouled the guy. That was also way too harsh. Maguire also had a solid game, let's be honest. He did. He nearly scored towards the end, hitting the crossbar. So Copenhagen winning the game by 4-3, coming back from behind. You understand? And it's like, that's the beauty of Champions League, man. Now the group is wide open. Obviously, Bayern Munich has qualified. So now it's a scramble for who's going to take that second place position and who is going to scramble for a Europa League spot in the group. So now it's between Galatasaray, it's between Manchester United, it's between Copenhagen. And it's not going to be easy for any of these three teams. It's not going to be easy. It's always going to be a matter of just quality, preparation, discipline on the field, decision-making, and concentration. Nothing else. Because right now it's all about discipline now. It's about discipline at the back, discipline on the field. Maintaining that high level of concentration until the end of the game. You cannot afford to be complacent in a Champions League game, irrespective of who you're playing against. I hope this is a hard lesson for Manchester United to learn. I hope they will learn from their lesson. I hope they will. You don't underestimate any of your opponents in Champions League football. You never. Never. You don't do that. Not in Champions League football. Wow. I mean, yeah, we can go on and on, hey? We can go on and on. And then what? PSG, AC Milan, Borussia Dortmund, Newcastle United, the group of death. The group of death. Yeah, that's an interesting one, man. I'm even not so sure who's gonna qualify. You know, of course, AC Milan, they've got massive history. They're 7-time champions of this tournament. Remember, they gave themselves a chance to qualify for the next round. They got their first 3 points, first win in the Champions League season, first win in the Champions League in 5 games. You understand? And they scored their first goal in the Champions League this season, winning by 2-1 against Paris Saint-Germain. PSG did take the early lead through Skriniar. He gave them the early lead. Then we saw an immediate fight back by AC Milan thanks to Rafael Leao. A brilliant, well-taken finish by the Portuguese, which was a great equalizer a few minutes later on. And then Olivier Giroud scoring earlier on in the second half. Brilliant goal. After a great cross. Great cross by Theo Hernandez. That was a wonderful cross by Theo Hernandez. Olivier Giroud, the great. You know, what a striker he is, man. You know, irrespective of the fact he's not skillful, he's not a ball player whatsoever, but he's a great striker, a great center forward. He knows how to find the back of the net. He knows he's always in the right position at the right time. Great goal by Olivier Giroud. And yeah, man, it just opens up the group. You understand? PSG only have 2 victories, 2 defeats. You understand? Clearly, they seem PSG, their record away from home in the Champions League continues. It's dreadful. Very dreadful. You understand? It's dreadful to say the least, man. You know? Because now this is now their second defeat away from home in the Champions League group stages this season. Last time against Newcastle, losing by 4-1. In this one, they lost by 2-1. And yeah, we saw they had a couple of chances. Ousmane Dembele hitting the crossbar. That was one of their best chances of the game. You know, what a great shot by Ousmane Dembele. But I guess it's all about who takes their chances. In a game of football, it's always about taking your opportunities and making them count. And then what next? Borussia Dortmund against Newcastle. Getting 3 points. This group is wide open, man. It's wide open. This group is wide open. Wide open. Because now that's Borussia Dortmund's second victory against Newcastle. Now they're on 7 points, I meant to say. They top the group. Borussia Dortmund tops the group. AC Milan second place with 5 points. No, I'm lying. They're in third place, AC Milan with 5 points. PSG obviously in second place with 2 wins. Newcastle only have 4 points. A win and a draw and plus 2 defeats. But the group is still wide open. Still wide open. There's still a lot to play for in this group. A lot to play for. It's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to the next round of fixtures, man. I'm already looking forward to them. It's going to give me goosebumps. Hey, man, so thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. Thanks a lot for watching this video. And I hope you did like it. I hope you share. I hope you subscribe. And please, man, also analyze, mention your own comments, and we'll be in touch pretty soon, man. Hope you have a great one. Hope you have a lovely weekend ahead. Hope you have a great day as well. Hope you take care of your loved ones. Hope you keep yourself protected at all times. And also please mention your own thoughts about VAR and how is it a good invention for football or is it not a good invention for football? Do you think some of the decisions were very controversial? Do you think some of the decisions were harsh? And I'm talking about particularly the game between Napoli against Union Berlin and as well as the game between FC Copenhagen and Manchester United. You understand? Even Lazio got their victory. Ciro Immobile getting a milestone. He's now one of Napoli's all-time leading goal scorers. You know, that was a great goal for the Italian against PSV. So, yeah, man. Yeah, great game, man. Great games of football, and we're looking forward to the next round. You understand? So, Cheers, man. Once again.